Hello everybody, and welcome back. My name is Monique and I'm on a financial health journey to create an inheritance for the generations to come, and I want to do that through consistency and discipline. Today we are here to do a paycheck budget closeout for the paycheck that I received on January the 26th, and it lasts through February the 8th. Today is February the 8th, so I get paid on tomorrow, but all of my, which doesn't always happen within the pay period, but within this pay period, everything cleared from this previous paycheck. So I decided to go ahead and do a closeout. Not going to spend any money today. I am in the house for good. And so we'll go ahead and close everything out for this one. And then we'll talk about my weekly budget check-in. Today's the last day for this previous week. So my previous week went from, or this past week went from, where is it? It is here. So this previous week went from the 2nd, because my weeks run from a Friday to a Thursday, so it went from the 2nd to the 8th. That's the second week of that paycheck period that started on January the 26th. So we'll just talk through that. And you know what, while we're over here, let me go ahead and get a marker, because all of these cleared. So nail net cleared. Move this stuff from underneath. Move this over to the side. Okay. So nail net cleared. And I'll go in just a bit. There you go. All right. So nail net cleared at the exact amount that it was supposed to. The bank fee was not charged, so I'm going to change that. And Paramount went out or cleared for the $12. And then let me just update over here. The bank fee amount was actually 0. So there was nothing charged there. And I'll just check all of these off. And I need to check off electric because I hadn't checked that off. So everything has cleared for that particular paycheck period. We're moving into, like I said, today is the 8th. We're moving into the 9th. And then we'll look at that paycheck period in here where I've got a lot of things that are going on. Plus, I did not, although I talked about it on a previous video, my daughter has her chorus trip payment that will be due on the 16th. So I'm going to put a quick don't forget sticker here for that, just to make sure that I remind myself about that. And I should have a Sharpie here. Yeah. Don't have a lot of space here, so I'm going to stick it up here on the top, and I'll just say chorus trip payment, and that's for the 16th, just to make sure that I remember that. And then here I'm gonna go ahead and I will come out just a bit just so that you can see it. So here I will adjust this bank fee because that will not be charged, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that as a 0 because that is not getting charged, and I'm gonna cross that out. That's not something that I have to worry about for this 2/23 paycheck that will lead over into, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it'll lead over into, there you go, it'll lead over into March. So I don't have to worry about that bank fee because they are not charging that. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that. Now, my daughter is also thinking about changing over from Apple Music to Spotify. So that might make a change here. I have Apple Music listed here due on the 27th, but Spotify is due on the 19th. So we're going to talk about that this weekend. I'm going to see what she wants to do, and then we'll go from there. So there might be an adjustment here as well that you'll see where it won't. We'll cross out Apple Music and we'll put Spotify over here. So that's all of the updates I can think about for this particular monthly view. So let's move this out of the way. And then let's go back to our budget on my digital budget so that we can get this squared away. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna go back in a little bit more and let's talk through what this looks like. So first, let's talk about, oh, I don't want to write on there by mistake with that Sharpie. Okay, so first let's talk about income that came in. Remember, anything in green is good, anything in red is bad. And we're trying to finalize this piece out, and I'm trying to get closer to what my actual numbers look like as far as my accounts are concerned. So you will see a lot more transactions here than you probably have seen in the past. You know what? Let me also pause right here and just say thanks to everybody who's liked or commented on any of my videos, and especially those that have chosen to subscribe to my channel. I started this as a way to hold myself accountable, but I understand, recognize, and appreciate the community as a whole. You know, we've got similar goals and we got just different ways of getting there. So if you're rocking with me on this journey, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so bills account. I had deposited into my bills account what I expected. I had deposited into my variable expense account what I expected. I did have rollover because I used some of the money that I saved in January to help pay for February mortgage. What you'll notice here are the amounts for variable rollover. So week 1 for variable rollover, meaning what was I able to save for my variable expenses week 1, it was $58. And then I was able to save $69 from week 2 of this same pay period. Now, remember, these numbers, this 58 and this 69, come from the previous pay cycle. So what I do is I take the money that I saved here, the money that I saved from the paycheck that I received on January the 12th through January the 25th, the 2 weeks of variable expenses right here. And those numbers is where I saved the $58 and the $69. So $250 minus the $192 I actually spent week 1 gave you the $58. And then $250, which I gave myself, minus the $181 that I actually spent week 2 is the $69. I take those two numbers from this paycheck period and I roll it over as income in my January 26th paycheck period, because that's where I'm going to use that money for savings challenges and or sinking funds, just depending on what I need. I am going to continue that after this with this week as well. So the money that I have been able to save in variable expense spending over the last 2 weeks will then get recorded in my February 9th paycheck information as additional income. Okay, so that is how I treat it. All right, so we have that $58 and $69 I rolled over here. My son gave me $40 for a cell phone. Kim gave me $180 to help towards bills. So that's 1175 plus 500 plus 360 plus 58 plus 69 plus 40 plus 180 equals 2382. So that is my total amount. Let's go here and let's go here. So we're going to go ahead and highlight that and color it green because that's a good thing. More than I expected. All right. Next is my there you go, is my my fixed expenses. All right, so everything came in on track for mortgage, Apple Music, Gas South, and Apple Care. A little bit under for AHS, which is my property insurance. Ring came in the way that it was supposed to, so that shouldn't actually be in green. That color should have stayed as black. All right. For electric, it came in as I thought, 116. Nelnet came in as expected. Bank fee, didn't have to worry about that, so that's zeroed out. Paramount was $12. Verizon. So I did not realize when I did my budget with me previously that I had Verizon listed here as well. I knew I was going to pay some of the bills for the next paycheck period so that I would have a little bit of extra money going into these next 2 weeks, but I did not realize I had Verizon listed here as well. I knew I was going to take care of Ally credit card and the Discover credit card, but I had Verizon on here also, and I'm not doing Verizon as well. I mean, that would be a lot. So I have I removed that one from there, and that's why that shows a 0 and in green. I just didn't pay enough attention that that was included in here. So that you will see reflected in the budget with me for the paycheck that I received tomorrow on February the 9th. All right, Allie paid out, Discover paid out, good. I had a baby gift that I wanted to get, Netflix. So here's something funny. So my oldest daughter was at her boyfriend's house over the weekend, and I don't know if she remembered that I no longer have a Netflix on account that I have. I had one through my friend instead, and he's been covering that cost, and I got rid of mine, and he uses my Paramount Plus, etc. So we offset the different streaming services that way. So something happened, and all of a sudden I get a note that says, hey, thank you for signing up for Netflix again. And they charged me the $15.49. And I think it was her. Nobody wants to cop to it. Nobody wants to admit it. But I think it was her. I think she went in under my old one, and it said something about, hey, you need to reestablish your account. She probably hit okay and just went on. So I saw that charge amount. So what I have done is I've gone into Netflix and I changed my password, and I got a computer generated password that is 28 characters of letters, numbers, and other symbols, so that nobody can say that they know it. I made sure that it says that it forces sign out on all of the different devices, so that I don't have this problem happen again, because nobody will know what that password is, and they would have to reach out to me and, Mom, we don't have Netflix anymore, and then we can have that conversation. But that is why it's in red. We should not see this going forward any other months, because I think I've taken care of that. But yeah, that's crumb snatchers for you. They just keep on moving. They click okay all the time. I dimmed and it messed me up. They click okay and they just keep moving through things, not realizing that sometimes those okays are going to come with a cost, and it's usually a cost that Mama has to pay. So there you go, 82, 12, 30. I did 50, but it should have been 150. So let me add another 100, 36, 16, 13, 28. So it's probably a good thing that I didn't cover Verizon, because yeah, there you go, 13.28 on that one. All right, next let's go to my weekly variable expense spending. So we already captured out week 1. I saved $210. I'm sorry, I spent $210, which means I saved $40, and I went ahead and put that over here because we need to make sure that we account for that savings when I get ready to total up this paycheck budget breakdown and close it out. So variable week 1, I have $40 that I have over there. Next, here are how the numbers shaked out for week 2. Now, one of the things I will tell you, well, let's figure this out first. So for gas, I had a full tank of gas going into this variable expense week 2, and I only put $9 to kind of top things off, and that was all that I needed to spend. Next, for groceries, I went bare. I just said, hey, whatever I have, I'm going to go ahead and use. So I'm going to throw out a quick plug right now. My friend, my sweet, has an Instagram page. It's called Cowboy Chris Cooks. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it or not, but you can go over there and follow him on Instagram. He has a YouTube channel, but he's trying to get that up and working. Again, it's all together, one word, Cowboy Chris Cooks. But he has a Let Nothing Go to Waste challenge, where you just use the stuff in your cupboard for like a week or so instead of buying groceries, and see what you can create. And that is really what I have done this past week. I went to the grocery store, got a few things, got my fresh vegetables and fruit so that I could do my juicing and that kind of stuff. But overall, I wanted to use a lot of what I had, and I was able to save some money that way. So I only spent $103 out of the $130, which left me with $27 on that one for gas. I ended up saving, of course, $31 there. So I will just say I am at the bare minimum though. So come Saturday, your girl got to replenish for sure. Like, I was rooting around in there this morning trying to find some stuff, and I found a bag of like Italian raviolis that I bought. It's a frozen bag of the pre-made raviolis that we can heaten up. And so I'm going to cook that pasta, and I've got some tomato sauce and I've got some Alfredo sauce, so they can have either choice that they want to put over that pasta. And I got some garlic bread. So since dinner is covered, I'm going to mark this off as another no spend day. And we'll talk about that in a second, how many no spend days I have. But there you go. So I would just encourage everybody, let nothing go to waste. That last week of the month, see what you can do with what you have in your cupboards, in your refrigerator, and you would be amazed. And what's really funny is the girls have really added to this in some way. So they're going in and saying, oh, we can take some French fries and we can melt some cheese sauce, and we've got some bacon bits we can make and put it on top and just do some loaded fries. So they're really kind of getting into it as well. So anyway, might be something for the family to kind of enjoy with that. All right, for spend, I have $50. Didn't spend anything. Okay. There you go. And then for home, I was at $30 that I allocated, and I only spent $28. So when we look at this overall, 9 plus 103 plus 28 equals $140. That's $140. That definitely should be in green because that is less than the $250 that's typical. And then let's take away $250 from that, and that saves $110. Now, what I will tell you is when I went to the bank this morning to take the money out, I didn't have 110, I had 109. I'm sure that's because of something up in here. Maybe this should have been an 8 instead, or a 10 instead, or something to that effect. I don't know what it is, but I'm $1 off a little bit. So I only took out $105. And so that's all you will see documented over here, that I have $105. That's my rollover instead of 110. I left the $4 in the bank. Alrighty, so let's add those numbers up. So that's 210 plus 140, and that's $350 that I spent in variable expenses, and that should be in green because that is a good news story. Remember, anything that I save for my variable expenses, that's the only way that I can fund my savings challenges. So I did work really hard on doing that. Plus, I'm going to take half of that money and put it towards savings challenges, and the other half putting it towards cash rollover that I keep in my wallet now as well. All right, so that's 210 plus 140 equals 350. Let's take that away from the 1328. I should have brought that down. So 1328 minus 350 equals 978. And I'm not going to mark that off yet in green. So 978, but that is pretty good. Alrighty, let's come over here and let's put 978 up here. All right, so we already have marked off that I used $180. Like I said, from the money that Kim gave me, I used that $180 for my sinking funds. I used $128 towards my savings challenges. That's the $58 that I saved from week 1 of variable expenses. $30 of the $69 from week 2, I took the other $39 and I rolled it over into my cash envelopes. And then the $40 that Micah gave me for the cell phone, I took that and I put that towards my savings book, the yearly savings challenge book that I have. So those three together total $128. I also have documented here that so this gray is all of the sinking funds added up is 180. This gray is these three categories right here added up to 128. And then I was able to contribute $15 to my bills buffer. I was able to put $10 in a variable buffer. That's $5 a week that gets transferred from my variable checking account to my variable savings account. And then I was able to invest $40 in the public investment app. I wanted to only do 20. I did $20. I thought the transaction didn't go through. I thought I got an error for it, so I did it again. And so I really only wanted to do 20, but it ended up being 40. So it is what it is. So that is 180 plus 128 plus 15, 10, and 40. That's $373. And if I subtract that from 978, that equals 605. And that feels very, very high. So let me make sure I got all of this right. I don't have all of this right, I bet you. 2348, 2382 minus 1328 equals 1054. That's what it was. I'm like, this seems really high. Okay, so I forgot to do the 1054 here. So 1328 was lower than what I expected to pay. So color that in green for my variable expenses. I forgot to subtract those. So 2382 minus 1328 for fixed expenses left me with 1054. 1054 is what it should have gone here. Look, real time. Real time. All right, 1054. Let's put that in here. Minus 350 equals 704. All right, we're getting it together now. I think we are on track. So we put 704. And I was like, that feels high. All right, so 704 is what we should have had over here. Let's get that right. And this is another reason why Monique is better for digital budgeting and planning, because Monique makes mistakes. All right, so 704 minus 373 equals 331 should be here. All right, we are tracking now. 331. All right, next. As I mentioned before, I got $69 week 2 that I saved. I took 30 of it and put it towards family savings. And then I took the other 39 and I put it in my cash envelopes. I rolled over now also $40 that I'm going to take from this paycheck and move it over to next week's paycheck as additional income. I have $105 from week 2 that I'm also moving over to next week as additional income, because I saved it this pay period to use the next pay period as saving for my savings challenges. So I need to subtract all of that from this budget, because this is not money that will still be in my account. It's being accounted for, it's being used or allocated in other ways. So I need to make sure that I account for that. Plus, during this paycheck period of January the 23rd through February the 8th, I had 3 additional unplanned expenses, and I have it written here as unplanned. I hope I never have I need more than this space for 3 lines to be able to document unplanned, but I did have 3 of them. So I did a fundraiser for a friend of mine at $29. I bought some Etsy digital stickers for $11. And then I bought a puzzle. I love puzzles, and I make puzzles, really, really nice puzzles. I make them, and then like you glaze them or whatever, and you put them in frames. And that's my portraits and paintings and other stuff that I put up on my wall. So I found one that I really, really like, and so I did buy that. And so all 3 of those together is $65. So I have another $65 that I need to account for that was unplanned spending. So 331 is where I start, minus 39 for the cash envelopes, minus 40 for the rollover I'm moving to next week from week 1. 105 I'm moving over to next pay period from week 2. And then minus 65 equals $82. So I have $82 now. Instead of $57, I actually have $82 now that should be available in my bills buffer account. And I can tell you for sure that that number is a whole lot better because I'm now accounting for not just unplanned expenses, but money that I'm rolling over to another paycheck period, I still needed to make sure that I was accounting for it over here. So I'm going to add these 4 columns up, though. I should have done that. Plus, to make sure that this is just complete. So that would have been $249 total that I had to account for. Okay, all right, so there you go. That is my budget closeout. I'm $82 under budget. That money is available in my bills buffer account. I've now built up about $300 that's in my bills buffer account, which I may need because I've got lawn care that's coming up, although I'm trying to save for that. It's going to be, I haven't saved up enough to account for all of the times that I'm going to need to use that. Plus, as you can see, I might have bills like this Netflix that come out and I'm just not expecting it. And then, of course, sometimes you have unplanned expenses. So I like the fact that I am tracking to always being under budget for all of these categories, like my variable expenses and my paycheck. That feels really good to me. Let me cover real quick for the month of February as far as my no spend is concerned. So I'm keeping up my no spend challenge, and the way that I do it is not a no spend for the whole month. It's just setting aside how many days do I want to try and hit. I set aside 15 days for January. I got to 16 days, but that was hard and that was a lot. And I know I'm going out of town this week of the 19th for a little bit to be with family. So I'm setting something a little bit more realistic. I set myself up at 10 no spend days for February, and I'm already at 5. So I'm doing really well. If I can get my other close to my 5 additional ones here in this next week, then that just leaves me free to just be me in the next 2 weeks after that. That would be great. All right. So I did want to show you guys that. And then the last thing that I will cover is over here. We talked about the fact that I saved $40 from week 1 and $105 from week 2 of my variable expenses. I am halving that money. I'm taking half of it and I'm putting it in my jar for my savings. I'm taking the other half and I'm putting it in my wallet envelope as rollover for when I go out of town or I have other things that are going on. So that total is $145 that I should be moving over. And I've already got that documented for my paycheck period of February 9th through the 22nd. The way that I have it documented here is I say rollover for my cash envelopes. I did $20 as rollover for cash envelopes in week 1, $50. I'm doing $50 for week 2. Rollover for savings and sinking funds, $20 in week 1, $55 in week 2. If you add it up, 20 plus 20 is 40. And remember, I said there was $40 left over from week 1. 50 plus 55 is 105. And that's what I had left over from week 2. So I'm going to go into my wallet really quick, and I'll come out some now that we're finished with that piece. So we have the money set aside for from week 2 of variable expenses. So let me close this over and get it out of the way and move that over here. All right, so I have 20, 40, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 105, right? So this is the money that I have for this last week for variable expenses that I was able to save. So for gas, I had, I'm gonna pull this up really quick again, just to make sure I got it right. I saved $39. Let's go in a little bit more. Yeah, so we're on week 2. I saved $31 for gas. So I'm going to just say 15. I'm going to take 15. 5, 10, 15 of that and put it in my gas rollover envelope. That's groceries. That's miscellaneous. Here we go. Gas. Y'all, I took the little white things out. I can't handle those. And I just stuck these little page divider thing in here just to keep it open enough where I can stick my finger in there and open it up until I do have some envelopes that I did order though, from Etsy, and because I can't handle the little white things. They bother me. Okay, so gas now has 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. And it usually takes about $40 to fill up my tank. So this is $45 now, roll over for gas. And I will use this the week that I'm going to South Carolina. I usually takes 2 tanks of gas for that. So I will allot myself the normal $40, and then I got $45 to help with that. Next is groceries. I saved $27. So I'm going to take 10 and I'm going to put it towards groceries. And so I still got one of the little white things left, and I need to get rid of that. So I took 10 of that 27. And so that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 21, 22. $22 to help towards groceries. And this will probably help for my Super Bowl. I think we're going to get some wings or something. And so that will help for that. Alrighty, got that. And then spend, I saved all $50. I did not spend anything from my spend category. So I'm going to take 25. And that's going to go towards spend. And this will help with going to the movies. That third week when my daughter's out of school, I'm going to take her and her best friend to the movies. Maybe we'll go out and get something to eat. I don't know. We'll see. But this will help with that. So 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 41, 42. So if I did that right, that's about $50. I wasn't counting just to be sure. But that should have been about $50 towards my rollover. And then I should have 55 for my savings challenges. 20, 40. Yep, 40, 45, 50, 55. There you go. And so let's go here. Let us take the tap off. Let's stick that down in there. And there we go. That is it. Okay, so I combined a lot for this particular video. And I'm not mad. It's pretty long, but it should have been because we talked about a lot of stuff. So I think we are good. Thanks everybody for your time. You guys have a good one.